After a wild week 1, we didn't get many more answers for week 2. It just kept us guessing. And now we're going to start week 3 with a CMC injury. Not the best way to go. Welcome in here, everybody, to the Dynasty Mafia podcast. Week 3 already, guys. We got our week 2 recap show. And we got a really good one for you today on September 23rd, Thursday, probably Friday by the time you're hearing this. Antonio with you as always, Keenan and Eric as well. What's going on tonight, fellas?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, boys? What's up? I always let Eric answer now, and he always gets all shy. I love it. Look at him. He's all red. Don't be shy, Eric.
No, that's just the lighting in here.
Oh, yeah. Our fans love Big E.
A nice tone.
Yeah.
I just want to be the loved one here.
Yeah.
Oh, you definitely are the loved one, man. You're the big teddy bear on the show. That's for sure. But no, man, speaking of love, we got to give some of that to the Raiders. Courtland Sutton, Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, Cooper Kupp. A lot of big performances this week. Tony Pollard, I don't want to talk about him, but we're going to have to. He's scaring a lot of the Zeke owners. But like I said, there was a lot of questions after week 1. I really don't feel like a lot of them were answered in week 2. So week 3 is going to be a pretty big one in this 17-game season. I'm really excited for it. We have a lot of good things to talk about today. We're going to talk about our biggest surprises. We're going to talk about our buys, some sells, some stresses and impresses. We're going to go over some of the games and also talk about some big recaps from week 2. So while we get that started, how's your week been, Keenan? How's your week going, buddy?
Not bad. I'm dominating a couple fantasy leagues, so I can't complain. That two keeper league you and I were talking about. What, I got 450 points already in 2 weeks, and you're behind me by like 100 points. I wish I would have drafted that same lineup in all 11 leagues. Cooper Kupp is saving me though.
Cooper Kupp is saving. That's my guy, Cooper Kupp. I got him in 2 of my 8 leagues in redraft after pronouncing him as my guy. So I'm really disappointed in that. But what I am disappointed for, too, is all the injuries that happened this week. That's another thing that really killed the week. We had a lot of big-name quarterbacks go down. We had some big-name wide receivers, running backs, all big names in general. Just an accoutrement of players, unfortunately. Thankfully, though, we don't have many that are long-term. We'll dive back into that. But, Eric, how's your week been going, buddy?
Eric's week's going bad. I'll tell you that right now. He just got hurt. He was crying a minute ago. He had the tissues out.
Dude.
Yeah, we were recording during the Thursday night football game, and CMC just got pulled a hammy right before we hopped on.
But what gets me the most is that I traded for him. I traded Keenan. I traded you for him in one league last offseason. What'd I give you? I gave you Nick Chubb.
Oh, yeah.
Something else. I don't even know, but
Nick
Chubb's great.
Nick Chubb and a couple firsts, I think it was. Or something like that.
I don't know what it was.
It was a hefty price.
Yeah, and he just – come on. We were so excited for him to be back this year. He was doing great, the past 2 weeks, but –
I think he's done.
Yeah. He's done this week. It says he's done.
I think he's done as that number 1 fantasy option.
Well, what worries me the most, Keenan, you saw the injury. My head was down. But between you telling me about the injury and him getting ruled out, I don't think it was more than 3 or 4 minutes. And it's I don't think it was that long for them to say he's done for the game.
Oh yeah. It was right away. It went to a commercial and it came back and they said we have some bad news. Right, and before the commercial, they said he was in the medical tent. So it was quick, and if you watch the replay, you kind of see it pop. I think. I mean, I could be just seeing things, but I don't think. Like I said, I think it was me who said it last year. I was like, this is the time to trade CMC. You'll never get that value for him.
So most important question, providing, worst comes to worst, CMC is not back next week. How much fab are we spending on Chuba Hubbard?
I mean, I don't think you find out. We find out if he's out the following week because they have a long week this week. So they're going to try to rehab him and actually hamstring injuries. You'd never know.
It depends how bad.
It depends how bad it is. I mean, Eckler last year, I don't know if you guys ever seen the picture of his leg, how black and blue it was after he pulled his hammy. He was out for what, 10 weeks or something like that?
Yeah, he was about, I think it was week 8 or 9 he came back. Yeah, but it can definitely linger. It's not something you want to see, but Chuba Hubbard, if he's the one which looks like so far, I don't think Royce Freeman – I don't think we're going to have a Mike Davis situation last year where they're going to ride one player the whole time.
It's a different offense.
Exactly, yeah. And they have Freeman in there who has also shown he can catch balls. He did that in Denver. He did it in college very well. So I think that right now Hubbard is the guy you're going to want as we watch. What are we sitting at? 5 minutes left in the second. So Hubbard's definitely the guy you're going to want. I'm spending – we'll hear more information by the time waivers, but I'm spending 30 or 40%, if not more.
I was going to say 50. If we find out before Tuesday that he's out the following week, and if a report comes out that it might be 4 to 5 weeks, at least 50%.
A lot will depend on the rest of this game, I feel, and obviously with what comes out with CMC. But obviously, just curious right off the bat there with seeing what.
Yeah, and their bye week isn't even until week 13, so you can't say, oh well. At least maybe he'll save a game missing a bye. All right. Well, yeah, we'll talk about that as we get more information. But speaking of injuries, I had mentioned we did have a plethora of coming through. So the quarterback injuries, notable Tyrod Taylor, Carson Wentz, Tua, Lamar is sitting out of practice, Andy Dalton. We saw Justin Fields is going to be the starter. Baker got injured. Big Ben got injured. Derek Carr. Stop me if you hear any names that I might have missed. But it seems like long-term wise, we're more so looking at Tyrod Taylor with his hamstring. He's out on IR. Carson Wentz, both of his ankles are sprained, but they think he's going to be playing this week. He's going to try personally. I don't know if they should, but I'm sure they don't want to go 0-3. Tua's x-rays on his ribs were negative, which was good. We'll see how that goes. Brissett got shut out from the Bills this week. I'm not sure what route they're going to want to go.
Again, he got shut out again. Two games,
when it was Indy, right?
2 games in a row. Technically, he didn't really start this one, but let's say he did. He's lost, was it 35? What's 35 plus 16? 40. Yeah, 51. Yeah, good math there.
Save yourself.
Yeah, 51 to nothing he's lost in 2 Bills games.
You know what? Now that I'm reminding myself not to interrupt you there, didn't CMC had cramps last week?
He did.
And I don't know if it's the same ankle or if it's the same leg or whatnot, but that just came in my head right now that he had cramps. But anyways, so those quarterbacks, like I mentioned, Andy Dalton's out, so Justin Fields will be coming in. That'll be exciting. We're watching Davis Mills play right now over Tyrod Taylor.
He's looking
Derek
rough.
Carr sounds like he'll play. He's looking a little rough, that's for sure. Big Ben, his pec injury, they said he's probably going to play. So like I said, we had a lot of injuries in the quarterback realm, but it really seems like just Tyrod, possibly Tua and Wentz are going to be long-term. Dalton, I think I said he'll be playing by week 3 anyway. Fields, so.
How does someone sprain both his ankles?
Dude, it's like that. When I saw he sprained both of his ankles, it's like that viral video that went around of that guy trying to do a dunk, and he like broke both of his knees.
Yeah,
when he landed, I just feel like it's
like bad luck.
Like he's
Carson
not
Wentz,
having a good time.
Carson Wentz plays a reckless kind of game for a quarterback. For a quarterback that wants to be a franchise quarterback, let's say.
I think he feels like he's Cam Newton, but he's not.
I mean, even Cam Newton, like after his couple years, after his first couple injuries, he started sliding and going out of bounds. The one play, I don't even know what it was. He was like getting sandwiched and he was still trying to make a throw. 1, you're going to get injured, which he did. And 2, you're going to turn the ball over when you're doing something like that. And I don't know. I feel like he just hasn't learned. He thinks that he could make that. He's trying to win a game in one play. Let's just say that.
He's Josh Allen, 2 years ago, which I know you can't compare that 2 years ago because Carson has a Super Bowl, but just the reckless YOLO. He's got a Super Bowl ring. It is what it is, man.
He could thank Nick Foles.
But what worries me, though, is they're 0-2 right now, and they're about to go on a 3-game road trip.
And they're going to be 0-5.
It's going to be scary. They're at Tennessee, Miami, and Baltimore. So I understand wanting to play him. But with talking about Indy real quick, because I want to talk about this later, but it's easy now. we're talking about buys and sells later. I was thinking about buying JT, but the more I thought about it, I don't know. Like I'm worried because he's getting the work.
It's the schedule.
But,
you got to look at the schedule.
Yeah,
it's a real easy schedule coming up. I tried to buy him from our buddy Clint, and I don't think Clint looked ahead to see what the schedule was, but he didn't want to move JT because he said he likes JT. But I tried to buy him because I saw the schedule. Carson's hurt. They're gonna rely on JT more, and it was worth buy low. It's worth taking the risk.
That's what like I was originally gonna call him my buy low, but then I just got more worried what's gonna happen if Carson isn't coming back and he winds up being out. Let's say he re-injures himself if he does come back and he's out the rest of the season. If Jonathan Taylor gets the work we want, couldn't you sell him right now for a player that'll get you a better return? Because, like, for example, right now he has 32 rushes, no touchdowns. He had 1 target last game. It's scary because he had 7 the first game. So, like, if I could move him for an A.J. Brown plus, Justin Jefferson plus, would you do that type of trade right now if you could afford it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're getting a great player in return, but I was trying to lowball Clint. So
if you can afford it, I mean, I guess, but I don't see how anyone's able to afford trading away a running back like Jonathan Taylor unless you're getting another top, at least top 10 running back, in my opinion. I mean, I'd be shooting for one of the top 5 guys, but
Yeah. I mean, like if you got Chase Edmonds, Damian Harris, a couple guys like that.
Like on top of Williams, Justin Jefferson?
On top of Jonathan Taylor.
Antonio, what running back did we talk about me trading for with you?
When? Mixon?
Mixon.
Oh, you wanted to get DeAndre Swift.
All right, they're not at the same level.
That's a good call, yeah, but you can get DeAndre Swift plus.
Yeah, but here's my thing. Like, it's going to be so tough to trade for any of these top running backs because you need another running back in return. And which running back are you going to settle for? Would you have done Sutton and, let's say, Clyde Edwards-Helaire for Mixon or what was the other running back that we talked about? Swift, yeah.
Sutton and CEH?
Taylor is just too safe for me to trade away. I mean, like you said, he had 7 targets week 1, I believe it was. Yeah. I mean, obviously only 1 last week, but I still think he has a safe floor. And I think touchdowns are gonna come his way throughout the season. As they did towards the end of last season. So, no, he's still behind a great offensive line. I mean, I know Carson Wentz went down, but hopefully, maybe they'll lean on him a little bit more throughout the season.
It's not like Hines is producing like he was earlier in last year, like early on in the season last year.
Yeah, Marlon Mack had a couple of drives. That was nice to see.
Yeah,
see him coming back in. But no, I know. I'm just.
I guess it just depends.
I'm just being. Yeah, it would really depend. I'm just being a little bit of a worrywart right now.
Let's move on.
We'll talk a little more back there. Yeah, let's get into the some running back injuries. Elijah Mitchell's not practicing. Josh Jacobs will probably miss. Javonte Williams hurt his oblique. He's a buy low candidate, so definitely keep your eye out for.
Is he out this week?
I don't think so. He was sitting with an oblique at least yesterday, but I believe he was back and limited today. Jarvis Landry, he went from being week to week, all of a sudden being on IR. And then, we weren't sure what OBJ is going to do, if he's going to come back. He hasn't played since his ACL injury in October.
He's playing this week.
But yeah, it sounds like he's going to play. T. Higgins, he didn't practice, and actually they just listed on the website today, the Bengals website, that he's probably not going to play.
Yeah, which sucks.
So, it is Thursday night. Take that with a grain of salt, but do keep an eye out that there's a chance T. Higgins might not play. So, practice accordingly. I do have Jamar Chase as a stress as we speak before that news kind of came out. So, I'm watching McCaffrey walk away, and it's sad. But anyways,
you're literally 10 minutes behind.
Yeah, dude, it's what happens. My TV's always behind. But yeah, with that being said, T. Higgins might not practice, so that's not going to bode well at all, especially when they're playing against Pittsburgh. So it might be for the better. Who knows? That's not going to go well for them. Amari Cooper was limited. Deontay Johnson didn't practice. Tyrell Williams went into IR. Amari Cooper got hurt with some bruised ribs. Metcalf banged his knee up, but he did finish the game. So anybody there, Galladay's not practicing, and didn't sound like he's doing much. Is there anybody that's alarming that might not play for Sunday that you think you have a question about besides T. Higgins?
What's going on with Josh Jacobs? Did he play week 1?
Yeah, he has. He did. He didn't play last week, and he's got a non-contact jersey on in practice. I think they're going to sit him again, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's just really weird that they didn't use Kenyon Drake very much.
Well,
when they paid him the money they paid him.
You never know with Gruden these days.
I get it, but like your starting running back goes out, and then like you pick up a veteran off the streets and you give him more touches than the guy you're paying $4 million a year. It's just kind of odd because that's why you pay your backup running back.
He only had like 30-some yards too.
Yeah, it wasn't promising.
Yeah, he got the touches, but like 30 yards on it was like double-digit touches too.
Yeah, not good. So the deal with Josh Jacobs is sell him, sell Kenyon Drake if you can. Even if you can get 50 cents on the dollar, that might be worth. Try to get. I'm really big on Chase Edmonds. I don't know. I keep trying to get Chase Edmonds in every league I'm in. So if you can move Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake together, or Josh Jacobs for like a Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds straight up, go for him. If you can get Javonte Williams, try to go for him. Try to get Devonta Smith, who's not performing too well just yet.
See, I'm opposite with you when it comes to Edmonds.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about him a little later.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to help you out there. JaMycal Hasty, more San Francisco injuries. JaMycal Hasty is going to be out, but Trey Sermon, who got a concussion, sounds like he's going to play. They did pick up Duke Johnson and Lamar Miller. Yay. Just more issues there. I was big on Sermon going into the season. Injuries kind of plaguing him. Well, besides week 1, the healthy scratch was interesting, but I was really hoping he'd get his wheels turning. So I'm still a fan for him for the second half of the season, because we obviously know that Hasty's probably not going to do much for them. Mitchell might not be playing this week, so he'll get an opportunity. And I don't know. I'm excited for what Sermon can do better half. He's on a good path to play on Sunday. So some big studs, just to recap week 2. I know we are into week 3 already, but I just wanted to mention, those couple guys, because we are going to talk about them. Courtland Sutton, Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry getting one up by Aaron Jones on Monday night. Cooper Kupp, Tony Pollard, like I said. So Tony Pollard, guys. Eric, mostly you. Zeke had more touches. Zeke had less yards. Zeke was on 84% of the snaps. What the hell are you doing right now if you're a Zeke owner and you don't have Tony Pollard?
I mean, I have him in a league, and I'm holding. What can you trade him for right now? Who's going to give you anything? You can't trade him for Jonathan Taylor right now. They're being drafted right next to each other in the draft, but now, nobody would even imagine trading Jonathan Taylor for Zeke. I don't know, dynasty leagues too. Like what can you get for him in a dynasty league that's going to be worth trading him now compared to what he potentially can be this season? I mean, what's going to happen with that situation? I don't know. I mean, why it would make sense for them to keep using Tony Pollard, right? I mean,
it doesn't make sense on Jerry Jones' pocket, and the amount they're paying Zeke. They're going to go back to Zeke. Zeke got his touches last week too. He got a touchdown out of it. Pollard had a good game, but he also had a couple good games last year, and then he disappears. But
another thing is, if you're the coaches and you really like what Pollard's showing, and you think Pollard is going to be the future feature running back in that offense, if they're able to get out of Zeke's contract after this season.
That's
Are we going to start seeing that? And is that part of the reason why it's happening? I mean, why wouldn't you run Zeke to the ground right now?
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna run Zeke to the ground. Tony Pollard, you should have bought low on him before the season started. He's definitely probably going to be their starter next year. Or
I know a big part was because of. I know a big part why they probably weren't going to run a ton or as much as some might or as much as they did in the past was because the wide receivers they had. But I mean, still, it's crazy the split that they're having between the two.
And like I said, I don't think they're going to run the ball 30 plus times a game because, this is like the least Dak's thrown the ball in his last like 9 games. So I'm just kind of, I think it might have just been a product of the game plan. They were going into Los Angeles. They wanted to maybe try to keep Herbert off the field, even though I would think if you're Dallas, you just want to keep throwing and score, as they've been doing. But I'm not too worried at all. I think it's a good buy low opportunity for Zeke.
Yep.
That's where my head's at.
Here's my thing. Tony, you made a good point. Or Antonio, you made a good point. It was the lowest passing attempts that Dak has in a while. Once they go back to throwing the ball, who's a better pass blocker? Zeke or Pollard? And Zeke will take that, and Zeke will be on the field for more plays than Pollard will. Like I said, if you go back and look, Pollard, since he's entered the league, he always has these couple good games. He's always been a waiver guy that people pick up. In a few weeks, they'll drop him again because they'll go back to Zeke. And it has nothing to do with Pollard's talent or Zeke's talent. It's the amount of money they're paying Elliott. They're going to run, like Eric, you said, they're going to run Elliott to the ground. How much are they paying him? Like $10 million plus a year? They're not letting 14. They're not letting $14 million sit on the sideline compared to whatever Tony Pollard is getting paid. Yeah, Tony Pollard might be the better running back, might be younger, less miles on his body, but Jerry Jones is not going to be made out to look like a fool because of the money that he's spending on Elliott. Just like, let's talk about Romo and Dak. Even though when Dak took over, Dak looked really good, and everyone said Dak should be the starter, but Jerry Jones kept saying, once Romo comes back, is healthy, he's my guy. And it took Tony Romo to say, I'll be the backup and sit out until, the year's over or whatever. Or I don't know, maybe he retired midseason. I forget what happened, but I remember Jerry Jones pushing for Romo to be the starter. He'll get the last say. And just like in this, they're going to run Elliott to the ground until
he likes his players. And this is tied for the most touches Pollard's had. I was just looking up his game log. So he's had 13 or more touches 5 times. But in the games immediately following those, he didn't even touch 8.
Yeah.
So I think they're just products of the gameplay. So
another question.
Yes, sir.
Do you think you could trade James Robinson for Zeke right now?
No.
James Robinson is not
Josh Jacobs.
I want to move on. No. I think you might be able to get like CEH for Zeke. That might be the lowest. That's maybe Miles Sanders for Zeke.
No, I'm saying if you were trading for Zeke.
Yeah, like I think you could probably give that Zeke owner Miles Sanders or CEH. That might be the lowest of that tier. That it might be a straight up that somebody could. But let's talk about Aaron Jones and Derrick Henry real quick. Derrick Henry bounced back. He obviously showed why he should have been a top 3 pick, top 4 pick. Do you think we're going to see more of week 2 Derrick Henry or more of week 1 Derrick Henry moving forward? Do you think this was hey, just feed me because week 1 I didn't get anything?
No,
or are they going to keep giving the ball? 30 carries.
It was feed me because Ryan Tannehill has sucked to start the season.
They know. Oops, there.
No, you're fine. First time in, I think, 18 games, Tannehill did not throw a touchdown pass. He has struggled to start the year, and they could thank Henry for saving them in that game. He did it all.
Yeah, he did.
And
he had a good chance to bring him back.
AJ Brown, him and Julio they're just haven't really showed much since the start of the season. It's only been 2 weeks, but I don't know. Tannehill just has not looked the same, and the Texans have just tied the game.
Yeah, they did. Davis Mills bringing it back. Eric, so with Aaron Jones having his 4 touchdown showing, he only had 7 touches in week 1. What do you think with Aaron Jones now moving forward? Is that a candidate that I guess does he have a chance to be top 5 running back moving forward? Or is that, seeing his low floor of 4 points compared to 41 points in week 2, what do you think there?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the best game of the season, I think, for him. It's a very great sell opportunity, to get one of those top guys. I don't know. We saw it all last season. It's like the coach LaFleur doesn't like him. I don't know. At least last season, it seemed like he didn't like him and didn't want him on the team. Like the one game he benched him at halftime because he wore sunglasses, but now he wears sunglasses every single game. It's like, what are you doing? We'll see. I hope he uses them. They need to use it. If they want that offense going, they need to use their best players. They can't get blown out like they did week 1. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to let that happen. So, he's going to be great. He's going to be a top 5 to 8 running back. As long as they use him correctly. But like I said, what we saw last year, you never know.
Well, you're not wrong that they should be using their studs and that they will use their studs. But I'm going to be honest with you, I am not. I'm a big fan of selling Aaron Jones right now. I think you should try to get rid of him while you can. They have 5 of their next 7 games are on the road. So that worries me. On top of that, they're facing the 49ers, Steelers, Bengals, Bears, Redskins, Cardinals, and Chiefs. That's scary as hell for me. And I'm not sitting here expecting that Aaron Jones is going to be getting 5+ yards per carry. And if he's not doing that, well, then you're expecting him to get, doing really well through the air because he's usually not getting you 15+ carries a game. He'll get you 18 touches, but usually a little bit through the air. And I really don't think that this 4, 5, 6 touchdown thing, 4 or 5 or 6 catch game is going to be consistent because he had 6 catches and 3 touchdowns. 2 of them were from the 411-yard line. It's not very often you see running backs doing that. And like I mentioned to you, Eric, we saw his floor, 4.2 points week 1. I don't want that from a guy I drafted in the first round. Now we see the boom potential because he had the 41 points, and that's what you really want. But we've also seen that throughout his career. He's been up and down. So I know we're going to talk about ourselves later. He is one for me. But I just had to get that off my chest. And while I did that, let's move into some of our themes that we're going to work on today, some of our categories. Seeing as I did just talk about one of our cells, why don't we talk about one of our biggest surprises so far? So why don't we each pick someone that's been a big surprise through 2 weeks for us? Keenan, why don't you start? I think you're muted there, bud.
I apologize. Technical difficulties. But my biggest surprise is not a good surprise. It's George Kittle. When you drafted him in the 3rd round, what were you expecting to get out of George Kittle? At least, 6, 7 receptions per game and maybe a touchdown by now? He had 4 catches, 17 yards or so last game. But for a second straight week, he didn't find the end zone. So I'm very surprised on that end. Maybe I'm more surprised on that whole 49ers offense. I know Antonio, you are always saying how Shanahan's a great offensive mind, one of the best in the NFL, but George Kittle hasn't really produced. Ayuk, I know he's dealing with a little bit of a hammy or whatever, hasn't produced. And those 2 guys, before the season started, I thought would be, especially Ayuk, I thought he would have a great breakout year. But with George Kittle, I don't know. I hopefully start using them a little bit more. It seems like they're using them more on the run blocking because they have 20 running backs that they got to feed over there. And I'm kind of sick of it, to be honest with you.
How about you, Eric? Who were you surprised with?
Mine's a bad surprise also. That's Antonio Gibson. He was being drafted, in the 2nd round. And I was very high on him as well. But, just through 2 weeks, I'm pretty disappointed, especially last week. It's a high scoring, it was 30 to I forgot
30-29.
Yeah, 30 to 29. It was a high scoring close game, and he didn't really do much, and he only had 2 targets. I mean, I know McKissick was, got a lot of targets last year, but, I thought that was more of an Alex Smith thing. Apparently not. But yeah, I really thought he'd be more involved. I think he's got the talent and has the ability. They just got to give him the ball more. But yeah, he's a bit of a surprise for me.
My surprise is a good surprise since both of you guys were being negative Nellies, but mine's DeAndre Swift. I was worried about him going into the season of possibly being that top 8, top 9 back that he originally started out being. But as we progressed into the drafts, he started becoming a value for me, 4th round, 5th round in some cases, mostly the 3rd round though. But I was able to scoop him up in a good amount of leagues. I'm very happy about that. They're using him in the passing game like I anticipated, but he's actually leading the league in targets for running backs. That I did not see. 16 targets right now. That was one more than McCaffrey. That'll probably continue to get higher now that McCaffrey decided to go die on us. So with Swift, like I said, I'm really excited for him. He's getting the touches too, at least 12 in each game. I'm not worried about Jamal Williams. It's an offense that loves to use the running backs. So if you can go around getting some DeAndre Swift, go ahead and do that. But he's been a big surprise for me, and I'm really glad that I had bought him. Even though he maybe hasn't gotten as many touches each week as everybody was hoping for. Well, just last tangent, 1250 week 1. I got that notification on Twitter that DeAndre Swift was going to be very, very limited with touches. Took him out of all my lineups. And of course, he had the 19 touches, and I was so mad. As I'm sure a lot of people were, right? But would have been thankful if you missed that notification for one of those days, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about player that we are surprised about. I want to go a little bit reverse because I did talk about my player that we would be trading away already in Aaron Jones. So Eric, why don't you talk about a player that you're trading away after 2 weeks?
Oops, sorry, I'm on mute as well. Yeah,
so I'll mute each other this show.
Yeah, mine's Allen Robinson. It's not necessarily because I don't like him. It's just, with the rookie quarterback coming in for his first start, I just think you can trade him if you can flip him for an AJ Brown, maybe in a Justin Jefferson, maybe if you add a little piece to it or something. A lot of people are high on Fields, so they might be, really excited about it. You might be able to do that straight up trade for one of those top wide receivers. I don't know. I've said it before. I'm not a huge Fields fan. He could be great, but for his first season, I just think you can flip A-Rob for one of those top guys at the moment, and even if you got to add a little something, I think you can get it done.
Interesting. Not to interrupt, Eric. Breaking news here out of the NFL: Wild Card Weekend playoffs is going to have a Monday night game this year.
Ooh,
that's
nice.
That will be fun. But you're right. Yeah. A big conviction for Allen Robinson truthers was that he's going to have his best quarterback ever, whether it be Dalton or Fields, either or should be that player. Well, Dalton has not panned out, and you're right. We haven't seen a lot from Fields, and neither has Nagy. So I was never an Allen Robinson fan either after his rookie year. But yeah, I agree with you there, Eric. Keenan.
One of my sells is Rob Gronkowski. One, his name is Gronkowski. A lot of people get blinded by names and don't really do research. Two, he's 32 years old, guys. He's not going to score two touchdowns per game, which he is on pace right now for the rest of the year. Like I said, 32-year-old, a lot of wear and tear on that body. The Buccaneers played probably two very average to below average defenses in the Cowboys and the Falcons. So this is your time to trade him, because I don't think that offense in Tampa has so many mouths to feed. And I mean, you saw last year, Gronk wasn't really using that offense until the Super Bowl. I mean, if you have him in Dynasty, this is probably your last time to trade him. Congrats to Blake Smith on ripping off Alex Nikoloff the other day. What was that trade, guys?
So that was like a second, and Rondale.
No, it was Terrace
Marshall. Like, what?
Yeah.
Don't go crazy, guys.
Blake Smith with a robbery on that one. I know he'll listen to this podcast, and he'll have a smile when he hears me talk about it. But like I said, if you have Gronk Dynasty, you're probably your last chance to get rid of him off your roster. You're not going to get the Marshall in the second for him, but you might get, I don't know, a second or a third maybe, and that's worth it to move them. And in redrafts, if you can get, a depth running back or wide receiver to help you, I think it's a good time to move them.
Get Noah Fant, get Dallas Goedert. Add another piece with Gronkowski to get Hawkinson. Go get Mark Andrews. The tight end position sucks right now. Go get Kyle Pitts. You can very much sell. You can easily sell someone that, hey, Gronk's going to get you 10 plus touchdowns this year.
You could trade Rob Gronkowski, and you could pick up Jack Doyle off waivers, who's currently at tight end 7. It's
been a crapshoot. Unfortunately, I was really hoping for OJ Howard this season, but I'm not going to get any of that. Not getting any of that at all. All right. Well, make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at DynastyMafia_FF. Make sure you're following myself at Antonio DenissiFF. Make sure you're following Keenan at Keenan_716 and Eric at Biggie_FF. Make sure you're checking us out on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you know every time that we are showing up for you. Check out the website, DynastyMafiaPodcast.network. Ooh, hello. Catch in my throat there. Sorry about that.
You had ketchup in your throat?
Oh, I wish. More like ranch. More of a ranch guy. Come on. Don't swear at me like that. All right, so we just talked about some sells. Let's get into a buy, guys. Let's get into a buy. So, Keenan, why don't you talk about a player that you're trying to buy right now?
I am trying to buy. Let me scroll here to my buy list. 1 second. Oh, yeah.
This guy we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, we already talked about him. Yeah, it's Jonathan Taylor. He's been fairly quiet. We talked about that. He so far has 32 attempts, 100-some yards. He's averaging about 50 yards a game. He's seen about 8 targets, 50 yards on that. But the good news is Taylor started slow last year, ladies and gentlemen. And this week he plays the Titans. And surprisingly, the Titans defense hasn't been that great, and I can see him starting. I can see the Colts starting to increase his workload now, especially with Carson Wentz. Probably going to miss some time, and the team is going to turn to Jacob Eason. So we might see him more in the run game and a little bit of those dump down passes to get those PPR points. But if you can get Jonathan Taylor after his slow start for something, I don't know. Maybe trade Zeke, or no, you can't trade Zeke for Jonathan Taylor. I'm just kidding, but I don't know.
We talked a bit about JT. Yeah, you're right. All right, let me just talk about my guy. We talked just a tad about AJ Brown. All of the elite wide receivers this year, the Calvin Ridley, AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams for a moment. Really just Tyreek Hill has been the one that's killing it. And people, I think, are getting worried that, they drafted wide receivers over their running back. So, what you do, damn it? You go trade one of those running backs and you get yourself that A.J. Brown.
Yes, sir.
He's got 17 targets. That is perfect. That is just about over 8 targets a game. That means that when you're going to talk about a whole season, that's over 130 targets. He's never seen that many targets before. So if you're sitting here worried about A.J. Brown, you don't need to be, because Ryan Tannehill is going to get it together. Derrick Henry is going to show everybody how the run game needs to be established, which they did in week 2. So right now is the best time to buy low for him, because you're not going to be able to do it after this. Like, you're really not. I understand he doesn't have more than 50 yards yet. They're about to have Indianapolis, which is why he's going to blow up. Then they got the Jets. Then they got Jacksonville. Come on, guys. That's the next 3 weeks. You're probably talking about the next wide receiver 1 or 2 after that stretch, because he's going to blow them up. We saw Julio break out last week, getting some rapport with Tannehill. So I'm really excited for A.J. Brown. I would give up Austin Eckler for him, Joe Mixon. Go trade. Honestly, don't yell at me for this, man, but get rid of Dalvin Cook. Get rid of Dalvin Cook. I have been telling you guys before, I would have picked Kamara over Cook at pick 2. Pass on Dalvin Cook. He's probably possibly going to miss this week.
He's not. They already said he's playing.
But possible. Because I told you before, I don't like Minnesota's offense. Plus.
Listen, he better play. I got him in my.
Well, that's what I'm saying. AJ Brown plus
league.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you could go get like CEH and AJ Brown. I mean, Miles Sanders and AJ Brown. Like just
you're not worried about CEH.
I'm not worried at all because he's getting all the red zone touches. He's getting a lot of targets. He's shown he can catch he's not getting a lot of targets, but he's shown he can catch the ball. They're just spreading the ball out a lot right now, and they have to score in different ways than they anticipated. They've had hard games. I think CEH is going to be just fine.
I'm reaching for the panic button, but I'm not pressing it.
Yeah,
on CEH. But
and that's fair. I get it. Like last year he was a letdown, but he was a letdown because of the fantasy community. He wasn't a letdown because of being a rookie.
The good thing is with CEH, he really has no one in his backfield.
That's what I'm saying. He's got all the red zone carries.
Yeah, so
I know they fill the ball, but
he looks so small out there. I know he's small, but like I can't remember last time he broke a tackle.
he doesn't get tackled. He's elusive. That's
when
why.
I said a star was born. Yeah. When I said a star was born was the last time he broke a tackle.
Yeah,
last year, week 2.
That was just yeah.
No, but back to the question though.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm not worried about CEH. I think he's another good buy low candidate. But yeah, him and AJ Brown. If you can get those two guys by selling an elite, you can go for that. But Eric, I'll let you talk anyway because you got to talk to us about your player you're buying.
Another one of the elites. DK Metcalf.
Another struggling wide receiver. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, a few down weeks.
Hold on, Eric. What's your feeling on Tyler Lockett right now?
Well, I'm about to tell you.
All right, go ahead.
I mean,
hold on, Eric. Wait a second.
Wait, go ahead. Continue. Tyler Lockett, though. Let's talk about that.
All right. The same thing happened with Tyler Lockett last year. It was 5 or 6 good weeks for fantasy, and 3 of them came in the first 3 weeks of the season. 6. So 50% of his good weeks for fantasy came in the first 3 weeks of the season. And then everything switched right back to DK Metcalf, just like it's going to this year. I think it's going to happen this week. DK Metcalf is going to have 2 touchdowns over 100 yards, and you're going to see the switch. And I'm telling you, Lockett's still going to have his good games. I'm not hating on Lockett. I mean, he's still a great player. He's going to have his good games, but they're going to be, few and far in between compared to every single week, like we're seeing the first couple of weeks, just like we did last year with him.
We will see. You better hope so.
Russ can cook, but
you better hope so.
It's usually one or the other. It's either DK or it's Lockett.
Speaking of Russ cooking, did you see that Pete Carroll said that in the press conference? Said that Russ was cooking, and he immediately recanted it. And he was like, "No, I didn't say that." He goes, "I have never once in my life ever said that, and I just said that." He said, "Don't tell him I said that." He's like, "Yeah, we're letting Russ cook."
You know what that means?
Oh, we're in trouble.
Chris Carson's about to have a big game.
That means my stress is completely wrong.
Probably, man.
Chris Carson's about to get 30 rushing attempts, 10 receptions.
Well, Eric, you just hinted at our stresses and our impresses, so why don't we lead right into that too? Because we've got a bit to talk about. So, all right, we have our impresses and our stresses, our version of starts and sits. So, impresses, Eric. Why don't you start with? Why don't you talk about all 3 of your impresses?
Yeah, Eric, why don't you impress us?
Yeah, Eric, impress us.
Oh, these boys are going to impress you this week.
Oh, I hope so.
One of them, Keenan, you were just talking about earlier, my boy George Kittle.
I hope
he is going to turn it around this week. I'm telling you, he can't go too long without killing it. I mean, the first week he had 78 yards. It's not like it was the worst week. It wasn't that elite kind of production that we're used to, but it's just the targets. He has to get those targets, and I think they're going to come his way, especially going up against Green Bay. I think they're going to have to put a lot of points up. I think George Kittle turns it around. I think he's a slam dunk this week and really turns it around for the season. My next one is Anthony's boy DeAndre Swift going up against Baltimore. Seeing what Baltimore did last week against the Chiefs, and just seeing how the Lions couldn't keep up with Green Bay. They got to keep the ball out of Lamar's hands however they can, and I think they're going to lean on DeAndre Swift in this one. On top of the targets he's been seeing in the passing game, I think he's going to have a great week. And then my last one, Tyler Boyd. Especially with Higgins being injured now, they're going up against the Steelers, so they're probably going to have to put up some points to keep up with them. I know Big Ben's banged up, but I think they got a good offense still, and they're gonna be putting it on him. So, and not only that, Tyler Boyd's been getting his. He had 9 targets last week, and he led the team in receiving. So, I think he's going to keep going and have another good week. And you can put him in your flex. I mean, he's a great flex option for this week. So,
especially with that scary Pittsburgh front coming at Burrow, he's going to have to get rid of that ball.
Yeah.
All right. How about I talk about my impresses? So let's see here. We've got my boy. I've been talking about him a little bit. Chase Edmonds, breakout week at Jacksonville. So one of these weeks they have to realize that he's more talented than James Conner, and they just need to start giving the workload, just take the training wheels off, say, man, come on, go. He's got 29 touches total. He's averaging over 5 yards per carry. He's currently sitting at running back 18. He's 9 for 9 on targets and catches, and he doesn't have a touchdown yet, guys. He hasn't scored yet, and he's RB18. I'm excited about that. I'm excited with the opportunity that he has. I'd be trading Kareem Hunt for him, Myles Gaskin for him, Chris Carson, to get him Chase Edmonds plus. I've talked a lot about him. So I'm really excited for him to break out this week against Jacksonville. Courtland Sutton against the Jets. That is my second impress this week. This guy's going to freaking kill it. Courtland Sutton last week, according to Jacob Gibbs, had more air yards, which was 258, than any player did in all of 2020. The whole season, he had more air yards. And air yards means how far the ball travels to when you catch it. So if you catch it, at the 10-yard line, you have a 20-yard catch, 10 air yards, 10 yards after catch. Anyways, so he had 258 air yards. Teddy Bridgewater is known for not throwing the ball down the field, and he's been doing that in this system. So no Bronco had more than 6 targets last week as well. With Jerry Jeudy out, Courtland Sutton's a killer, man, and he's facing the Jets. Third and final one, Kyle Pitts. It is time, everybody. Kyle Pitts time. 100-plus yards, 1 touchdown. That is happening this week against the New York Giants. The Giants are historically bad at covering the tight end. He had 5 catches for 73 yards last week. He is coming out of his shell, boys. I am sick of people crapping on Kyle Pitts and expecting – 500 yards after 2 games.
No. You put the expectations on him.
No.
Yes.
People expect that he's already a bust because he hasn't done anything after 2 weeks. Well, he's already got over 100 yards, man. You keep playing out this season so far. He's on pace for 900 yards. That is really freaking awesome for a rookie and super underwhelming if he continued to do that right now.
That's what me and Eric told you. But your numbers are like 1,400 yards.
No, I had him for 1,008 yards and 9 touchdowns. Yeah, and I'm still sticking with that because he is going to get that. Now, like I said, Chase Edmonds, Courtland Sutton, Kyle Pitts. I'm going to give you all a little bonus. Jalen Hurts, my number one quarterback of the week.
You have been on Jalen Hurts since this season started. And, this past week, Eric, when we were in the group chat and Antonio was like, oh, my God, Jalen Hurts this, Jalen Hurts that, I thought the score was like 40-2 or 7 or whatever.
Well, I think it was 7-0.
It was 3-0. It was 3-0.
Dude, Jalen Hurts was looking good against San Francisco. Like, I get it that they lost. I get that the score was as high as everybody wanted. But Devontae Smith screwed up. Jalen Reagor had a touchdown call back for like 60 or 70 yards that he stepped out of bounds on.
Out of bounds, yeah. That was a nice throw. He made a couple really nice throws. I'll give you that. But you take those throws away, he had an average game.
He doesn't have less than 60 yards in any game he started rushing so far. That's a great floor.
I thought you were about to say passing.
No, he has not rushed for less than 60 yards in a game he starts. So I don't know. Number one quarterback this week, Jalen Hurts. Monday Night Football.
Want to put a 6-pack on it?
On him, and you get in the field or him being number one?
Yeah.
How about this? You owe me 3 6-packs if I'm right, and I'll get you one.
What is this? Shannon Sharp and who's the other guy on Skip Bayless? Yeah. When they bet Mountain Dew.
Is that what he did? Well, hey, when the odds are not forever in my favor.
Sure. So three.
There you go.
3 for 1. Sure.
Someone sounds scared.
Number one.
He'll be number one this week.
Number one. Who do they play?
All right. They're playing at Dallas on Monday Night Football.
Oh, jeez. All right.
All right. Tell us your impresses.
All right. I lost my train of thought here, but my first impress. Saquon Barkley this week, boys. I know slow start. He's only had 23 attempts, under 100 yards, and 0 touchdowns. I'm not surprised by it. I know some people are, but I mean, before the season started, what did the Giants say? We're going to ease him in. And he played a couple good D lines in the Broncos and the Redskins. They play Atlanta this week. I think we mentioned that, and Atlanta's defense is horrible, and they've been horrible for years, and they'll stay horrible. So Barkley is my first impress this week. Second one, Elijah Mitchell. The 49ers running backfield has been a mess this year so far. And last week they had 4 running backs get hurt, or 3 running backs get hurt. I don't even know how many. I lost count. But it looks like Mitchell survived the injury bug there, and with really no one behind him, I think he has a good game because of the amount of touches that he'll have. I know he plays the Packers. Packers are okay, I guess, on defense. My last impress is the backfield for the Broncos. They play the Jets, guys. Melvin Gordon, Williams, they're both going to tear it up, and just because the Jets stink. And speaking of the Jets, did anyone see that TikTok of that kid breaking down the one Zach Wilson interception?
No, but I was going to talk about them at the end, so let's just bring us right into it, man.
Well, I mean, the TikTok, the kid like tore up all 11 Jets on the field. The offensive line, I don't know what the hell they were doing. The wide receivers had no separation, and then Wilson just threw it up for Gabe Davis, and then Gabe Davis leaped for the ball and looked like he jumped 2 inches. Looked like Big E was trying to catch the ball there.
You say Gabe Davis?
No, Corey
Davis. Yeah, I knew you.
And did I say Gabe Davis? I got a Gabe Davis jersey today, so he's on my mind. But I'll show you later.
Eric. Got the hype train in your background.
Yeah,
you like that? Third down. But what are we bringing this into? I don't know what we're talking about. Why are we talking about the Jets?
So I was going to talk about
Zach Wilson's interception.
Yeah, have Eric talk about that as well and his thoughts.
He could have 50 interceptions this year. It doesn't matter to me because that team is horrible. And Eric, you go ahead. You tell us your Peyton Manning stat.
Tell us that you're not too worried, Eric.
I'm not worried. I mean, like he said, it's his rookie season. He's going in. He is somebody who we saw in the preseason who even said in a conference one time, he's like, I took some little shots just to see what I can get away with. Not saying every single interception is why, but I'm just saying, like, he's not somebody that's afraid to sling the ball, and he's not somebody that's afraid to try and you know, get the ball to the defender however he can. So if he's gonna throw some interceptions, I'm not worried about it. It's his rookie season. Peyton Manning threw 14 interceptions in his first 4 games of his rookie season. Not saying he's the next Peyton Manning. I'm just saying he's very young. It's his second game. He's on a horrible team. Don't got to worry about it. At least not yet.
Bruce Arians was Peyton Manning's coach. So I can give you some of that. Bruce, but speaking of Bruce Arians, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady had a lot of picks last year, so he's prone to do that. Jameis Winston had his 30+. But the Buccaneers last year were the first team in NFL history, or the Buccaneers last week, were the first team in NFL history to lose a turnover margin by 3 or more, have 100 or more penalty yards, and allow 450 or more yards of offense and still win the game. How crazy was that? That was some interesting stuff. But speaking of the keeping on the Bucs, what I wanted to talk was obviously Tom Brady talking about playing till he's 50 years old.
He's nuts.
Like,
he's
nuts. But is he nuts though?
He's
like,
nuts.
He's what he is now 10 touchdowns, I believe, away from throwing more touchdowns in his 40s than he did in his 20s.
He looked good. Like
they were showing
listen, they were showing a stat of how fast he's throwing the ball, and he's throwing it faster than he was in his 30s. Like I don't know what he did. He put AI technology in his arm or something, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, he was average in his 20s, so I'm not surprised by that.
So Keenan, you were talking about selling Gronk earlier, and AB's probably not going to be playing this week with COVID issues. So, with that being said, you got Jalen Ramsey probably shadowing Mike Evans. Is Chris Godwin and Gronk going to go crazy this week?
Oh, I didn't know AB wasn't playing. He was one of my stresses.
Yeah.
I mean, Ramsey can shadow Godwin.
Mike Evans is going to go off.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is I think he might. He wasn't shadowing this. They talked about not having shadow this year, Ramsey, but I think they might put him on Evans, just like week 1 Evans kind of got shut down. And everybody else did well.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to pick your poison. You got to just, I guess, I don't know. I don't think shadowing a guy works. I feel like Ramsey should just stick to one side of the field and shut that side of the field down, and let the other corners and the safety help on the other side.
Yeah, and generally he does. They just have been talking about him becoming. He doesn't want to be a shutdown. He wants to move all over the field. That's why he loves the system this year. Yeah. And last week against Michael Pittman, they didn't put him on until Michael Pittman was already doing well, and then he got shut down. So I don't know. I was kind of thinking Godwin's going to be the one to really maybe blow up this week. And I know you were talking about selling Gronk, but I'm kind of thinking this might be another big Gronk week, just because of the fact of AB possibly being out, Fournette wasn't playing, and then Ramsey being there for the Rams. Don't play any Rams running backs, guys.
Those are my stresses.
Save yourself. Yeah,
you're killing me here.
Well, let's talk about our stresses, Keenan. Why don't you talk about our stresses, and then we'll get to closing the show up.
I mean, you pretty much said them all. Yeah. I mean, everyone.
You're blank on my sheet, man.
No, I'm not. I'm not on my sheet. You got to hit the refresh button on that computer. But all my stresses are from the same game, the Tampa Bay versus Rams game. All the running backs from the Rams, all the running backs from the Buccaneers, don't start them if you have a better option. Henderson has that, I think, rib injury. Sony Michel sucks. I know, Tony, you were a big guy on Sony Michel after he got traded. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I don't know who the starter is anymore. I know last week they said that Ronald Jones was going to be the starter, and then he had 34 yards or whatever he had, and Fournette seems to disappear at times. So, and they're both defenses are really good at stopping a run. I had a stat up earlier about the Buccaneers. Oh, the Buccaneers, their third year in a row, were the best run stopping defense early in the season. So I'm not starting those running backs. And then AB was my other stress. But if he's not playing, then I don't have another stress for you guys. So we'll stick with AB.
AB. I like
it. The reason I had AB was I feel like Ramsey's going to be on him a lot if he plays. But also that COVID issue, if he does play, a lot of players seem to, when they get back on the field, it takes them a while to adjust again, get back to football shape.
Yeah. So recap those stresses for me.
The whole backfield for both teams, the Rams and the Bucks, and
bad luck all behind me,
and AB.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. All right, I'll get to my stresses. I talked about Mike Evans already. We talked about why, so that's good on Mike Evans. I talked briefly. Jamar Chase at Pittsburgh is going to be my other stress for this week. So even now with T. Higgins going out, I'd like to think that'd be better for Jamar Chase, but it's probably not going to be. Burrow's going to have to get rid of that ball really quick with the Steelers' defensive line coming at him. That Bengals offensive line has not been helping him at all. So as much as I love Ja'Marr Chase the last 2 weeks, he is going to be a sit for me this week, and or a stress, but I'm definitely going to sit him. Aaron Jones is stressing me out too. I know we talked a lot about him earlier in the show, but playing against San Francisco, Miles Sanders wasn't able to do too crazy last week. They were able to shut down the whole Philly offense that put up a lot of points in week 1. So I just think Green Bay bouncing back after their good performance against the Lions. Look, they don't get to play the Lions every week. They're traveling to the West Coast to play San Fran. So I think Aaron Jones might have to do more in the passing game than the run game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 10 touches or 10 rushes again. So I wouldn't expect a top 10 performance from Aaron Jones.
It's crazy to me with the Packers do with Aaron Jones. Either he gets the ball 20 plus times or he doesn't see the ball at all.
Yeah, and that's always been like, I get it that he had, 18 touchdowns 2 years ago, but I think he had 15 of those touchdowns in 7 games.
Yeah,
and that's not what you want. So I have Mike Evans, Ja'Marr Chase, and Aaron Jones. Eric,
you're so wrong about Mike Evans. It's sad, but
I don't want
to be. My first one.
Well, hold on. Let me just, because you mentioned, who is always the player that I guess is the biggest up and down volatile player for that offense? It's always Mike Evans.
Yeah,
he's either last year. That's what he did too. He either had games of 3 catches or games of 8 catches. He's getting the touchdowns. That's what he'll get. I just won't be surprised if he gets 4 catches for 30 yards and a touchdown this week, because of what the Rams are doing, or because they just choose not to even go towards Evans because Ramsey might not start off shadowing him. That's the thing. If that's how it starts, whomever does better, Godwin or Evans, is probably what they might do with Ramsey. So,
or AB.
We'll see who's right. Hey, we should take a 6-pack. All right, you go.
Can we tally up these 6-packs? By the
way, they're somewhere. They're somewhere.
Yeah. All right.
They're on recordings. So my first one is Chris Carson, but I mean, like we said, after Pete Carroll said Russ is cooking, game over on that one. Chris Carson's going to have a great week. No, but really, I think with the Dalvin Cook injury, I think Minnesota is going to be leaning on their extremely good wide receivers, because why wouldn't they? Which I think this game could turn into a high scoring passing attack type of game. Russ is going to cook. He's going to lean on Lockett and DK. Not saying Chris Carson is going to have a bad game, but just tempering my expectations. Not looking for him to have that high production type of game. My other one's Terry McLaurin. Obviously, I love Terry.
We all do.
Yeah, we all love Terry. But with Taylor Heineke, speaking of shadowing, if Trey White's shadowing Terry, I don't know, man. It's going to be a rough game for him. It's going to be rough waters. I still think he'll be all right. You can't sit him. But again, temper your expectations with Terry. It's gonna be rough waters for him this week.
Have the Bills given up a passing touchdown yet? Oh, they did. That stupid Deontay Johnson catch.
Yeah.
That was the only one. That was the only
one.
Yeah.
And then my last one, James Robinson. He hasn't had any kind of crazy type of game yet, but I feel like people are still playing him just because what the running back landscape always looks like every year. But he's going up against the Cardinals. Cardinals defense looks really good. Chandler Jones is lighting it up. He had 5 sacks last game.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Cardinals are good. They're on fire. And again, this one, I think the Jags are going to be trailing and going to have to pass quite a bit. So, James Robinson, he's again, temper your expectations on him. He's probably going to have one of those 8 to 9 point type of games.
Awesome. So, who'd you have there for your stresses again?
Chris Carson, Terry McLaurin, and James Robinson.
Perfect. All right, man. So, that's hitting everything, man. I don't know. That's heads and stresses and impresses. That's the 18 players, I guess, on good and bad sides for us.
Man, I
do want to have a
side note. Freeman's getting the ball a little bit too much here for my liking.
Just taking a look at that, actually. Seeing number 32, because that's not That's not who it should be. So that's why, like, I know we said earlier in the show, 40-50% of fab on whomever. It will depend. I think after this game log, if you see that Royce Freeman got half as many carries as Chuba, that's gonna be a lot better. But if they're split 50-50, I might just avoid the backfield in general.
Yeah.
Because I wonder if Darnold's going to throw the ball even a bit more than they already are, because they can't run it 25 times a game without CMC.
Yeah, definitely agree.
That's going to be interesting. All right, guys. Well, I think that wraps up the episode for this week. So once again, make sure you are following us on Twitter at DynastyMafia_FF. Make sure you're following me at Antonio DeniziFF. Follow Keenan at Keenan_716 and Eric at Biggie_FF. Make sure you're following us on YouTube, youtube.com/Dynasty Mafia Podcast. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, throw us a like, tell your friends not to listen to us, I guess, if you'd like. But that's going to wrap up the show. We talked about our stresses and impresses. We talked about players we're buying, players we're selling, players we're surprised about. So we had a lot of good stuff this week. And I think we'll have our streams of the week probably posted on Saturday night or Sunday through the website, and we'll probably get an article for our stresses and impresses to recap that as well. So to close out the show, Keenan, Eric, you got anything, fellas?
I usually got something, but today I got nothing.
You disappointed me.
Yeah.
Good luck this week.
Yeah. Good luck to everyone.
Man. Week 3, it's coming fast on us. Everybody, good luck. Trust your gut. Shoot us any messages on Twitter for any start sit advice. And as always, Mafia out.